man, bodies were flying all night long in Salt Lake. OKC gets off to a hot start. Russell Westbrook backing his man down. It's the little step back. And then Paul George off the screen. Step back of his own. We're inbounding. It's the big fella, Steven Adams. And then Paul George, always with the quick hand, sets up Jeremy Grant for the dunk. George, 14 points, 11 boards, 3 steals, and OKC with a 13-point halftime lead. Third quarter, here comes Utah. Oh. Rudy Gobert inside. Donovan Mitchell drives. And how good a pickup has Dennis Schroeder been for this team?
It's been a great pickup, Matt. A guy that's comfortable scoring points and really running the team during the stretches of the game. If Westbrook's off the court, having a third primary scorer like Schroeder has been a great thing for OKC.
He had 13 in the third quarter, 24 for the game. Donovan Mitchell just losing Nerlens Noel here. Smitty.
Yeah. Thank you, Smitty.
Yeah. And then Mitchell all the way to the rim and the big finish. He had 25, but they're still trailing by 8. Russell Westbrook had an interesting night, productive on the floor. Also got into it with some fans who were issued warnings by team personnel for their conduct in that back and forth with Russ, who finished with 23 points, 11 boards, and 8 assists. OKC gets the 4-game sweep and finished their road swing 3-1. Utah shot just 36% on the night.
Any player that saves you $70 million in salary and cap in a trade is a good player. When that player can play fourth quarter minutes on a playoff team like Dennis Schroeder is, it's a really, really big get. People don't talk enough about Sam Presti and the work he did this season in terms of executive of the year. He made his team infinitely more affordable and radically better and deeper in the series of moves he made throughout this year.
Sort of colossal how much money was shed over the last 12 months by OKC. Up next, the Nets threw themselves a going-away party ahead of their longest trip of the year. Everybody, welcome in. It's Game Time presented by Kia, live from our Atlanta World NBA TV headquarters. I'm Matt Weiner, Derek Fisher, David Griffin right there. Good to have you with us. Let's get right to it. Clippers beat the Celtics on Monday night. It was never all that close afterward. Jared Greenberg with Lou. Good call, Lou. When the night began, Kyrie Irving and the Celtics were poised to make history of their own. They had a chance to become the first team to ever sweep all 4 California teams on the road. Played so well on this trip, but it was all Clippers from the get-go. Danilo Gallinari had the feeling early on, 13 in the first quarter.
Yeah, really aggressive. He felt confident that he could get to spots on the floor where he knew he could get high percentage looks.
Finished with 25 on the game. Kyrie Irving, good scoring night, just didn't much matter because they couldn't get stops. He was 8 of 17 for 18 points in 33 minutes. Lou Williams began the night 28 points away from passing Del Curry for the most bench points all time. Hesitation past Al Horford, and then Williams drives, makes the little jumper. He had 17 at the half. More from Lou.
And this is Lou at the height of his powers. Go left, create incredible space. He's a left-handed, right-hand player, if that makes sense.
Yep.
He's very left-hand dominant.
Too shy of passing Curry now, all the way to the rim for the historic bucket. Clippers shot 68% from 2-point range. Clippers love it. Steve Ballmer loves it. Lou, #1 all time. Steve gets excited a lot.
Yes,
he had good reason there. The nice moment for Williams and the Clips. Game well in hand at that point. Williams crosses up Terry Rozier, finished with 34 on the night. And the Clippers put up a season-high 140 on their best shooting night of the season, nearly 61% for their 5th straight win. They've won 6 of their last 7. And the Celtics settled for a 3-1 Western Conference road trip. Fish played in the NBA for a very long time. Talk to me a little bit about this specific role that Lou has occupied for such a long time, his entire career now, and how well he's done it.
It's unique. I mean, in particular for a guy that is as talented as Lou Williams is. I mean, yes, there are times where a guy comes into the league and he's coming off the bench for many years because he hasn't found an ability to consistently do what he does well. Lou scores the basketball better than anybody off the bench for sure, but as good as a lot of other guys. And he uniquely, I think, mentally is wired to embrace and accept who he is and accepting the role of being a guy that comes off the bench, knowing that he could start, knowing that there were teams he's been on, he was better than the guy in front of him. But to me, embracing it and being willing to play that role has allowed for him to excel at the level he has.
Just on the outside of top 10 in terms of points per minute this season, number 1 in the league in shots per minute. Lou is prolific, in large part because the Clippers have raised him to be that way. They've raised their team around that. You saw the joy that they felt for him, and that's genuine. And his comment about, I wouldn't want to do this with any other group of guys. The role delineation on this team is really clear. Gallo carries the first unit, Lou carries the second unit, and they play that way. And everybody in between is sort of a dirt worker overachiever, and that formula is working for them.
Celtics, meanwhile, playing without Jason Tatum, who was out with a shoulder injury. They were never really in this game. I don't know if it was complacency, too much time in LA over the weekend, whatever it was, they just weren't there.
All of the above, right? It's they've won the first 3 games of the East Coast, or rather the West Coast trip, in very impressive fashion. 4 days in LA, not a great formula.
Right.
This is the getaway game. Another reason it's a game you're going to lose in terms of a scheduled loss. But I don't know that I've ever seen a box score like this. Every Clipper who appeared in the game was either a 0 or a plus in the game. Not a single negative walked on the court for the Clippers, and that says a lot about their frame of mind right now.
It's hard to do. By the way, big one in the standings for the Clippers as well, who moved all the way up to 6th in the West with the win. Coming up, the Raptors fighting through a lull lately, and Monday just plain fighting. We'll try to sort out the chaos in Cleveland when we come back.